Bobby Martin here. Today was an interesting day, right? Started out this morning having to finish up a letter for one of the guys that I work with for court. Didn't get the morning workout or the morning walk-in that I wanted, but I got the morning workout in, which went well. You know what I mean? Like getting after it in the gym. Posted the video earlier today, right? Journey to 10% body fat. One of my sons texted me. He's like, "You're still gonna lose." Me and him have a bet on who's gonna have the lowest body fat by the end of the year. If I'm at 10%, if I lose, I'm good. Like 10% is 10%. That's an accomplishment in itself, especially starting at 30, right? So, my hope is I still win, and if 10 is good enough, man, I hope I can be like 9 or 8 come the end of the year, right? He texted me, "I ain't even started dieting yet." I said, "Me neither," right? I'm just warming up. So I'm just warming up. So, but I did tell him, I said, I am doing 75 hard. So like I have quit sugar or cheat meals and stuff like that. But I don't know if he really listens to the videos every day. If he does, he knows I quit sugar too. So, but if he doesn't, then he just thinks I don't have no cheat meals right now, which is whatever, right? Like, it is what it is. I'm going to win anyhow. And so, but that was one of the things that I was thinking about today, right? Like, and I don't know if I've actually talked about this here before, but like, I was doing some step work today, and one of the questions, what it brought out was me realizing like my fear of failure, right? I hate the idea of failing. To the point where like I become very short with people. Usually it's my wife that gets it because she's really the only one that I can't tell it's none of her business or whatever that I would normally say to somebody. Like when they ask me a question, I said that's none of your concern, right? Like like it always trips me out when people ask me, like I say, "Hey, what are you doing today? I need because I need some help with something." After like, "Oh, I'm busy," and then I'm like, "Okay, well, enjoy yourself." And they're like, what do you need? I go, why does it matter? You're busy, right? Like, I don't want people to change their plans for me, right? If you're busy, you're busy. And don't worry about what I'm asking if you're busy, right? Like, but I can't tell it to my wife. And so when I feel like, when I get asked a question, I think is none of people's business, I get short, and I can be rude with them, but I can't be rude with my wife. So usually I get short with her instead, and she's like, "I'll just be quiet then," and that's never the answer either, right? But I was thinking about like I have a real distinct fear of failure, right? Like that's my nightmare, right? My nightmare is not ever. Stupid camera's gonna make me mad. Way it keeps shutting off, but I have this real distinct fear of failure. It's weird. Like I desire more than anything success, as I think most people should. But I have a real fear of not being good enough for something, right? And I don't know about anybody else, but I work really hard at excellence, right? I study hard. I watch videos. I practice. Like when I get involved with something, I work my tail off to become the best that I possibly can at it, right? Which it's weird to say that because like I've talked about not doing enough step work or not reading my Bible enough, or right, like there's things that I try to do really hard with minimal preparation, right? It's kind of weird to think like had I been working hard since the beginning in recovery or in my preaching, I wouldn't have some of the issues that I have today, of feeling insecure and insufficient and all those things that arise with that, right? But But when I'm in the moment, right, with the amount of information I have, let's say it like that, I work really hard at what I do, right? And what sucks because when your information is limited, you can only go so far. Right? You can't go to the extreme. But I do that with other things, right? Like weightlifting. I was writing about weightlifting and golf and cooking, right? Like anytime I'm put in a position to perform, right? I always want to bring my A game, right? And I have a fear of not being good enough, right? Like I get mad if I'm not the one that hits the ball the farthest or lifts the most weight or cooks the meat just right, right? Like if I overcook my meat, I get mad, right? Because it's like it sucks. But I have this fear of, and I think it stems from like this idea that I wasn't ever good enough in the things that I did, even though I was, and I've said this before, right? I'm better than most at everything that I do, right? Like I'm very athletic. I'm pretty smart. My wife says I have a photographic memory. So I excel with just those things. I excel a lot. I'm strong as hell, right? I love God and love people, right? So those things there kind of create this atmosphere and this aura around me of success, right? Like I do well in a lot of things because the way they just kind of mix and mesh and blend together. But I have this fear of not being the best. Or not being good enough to keep going, right? Like, there are people around me who do the same things that I do that are better. And I was writing about like when I realize that they're better and I'll never beat them, I just want to talk crap now, right? Like, well, I'm gonna beat you in something. You might be a better golfer than me, but I'll hit the ball farther than you. And that's like the true testament of a man, right? Like in my mind, like I tell myself, the true testament of a man is the one who hits the ball farther. Who cares about putting, right? Like that's stupid. Anybody can putt, but you can't hit a ball 400 yards, right? It's crazy, right? Weightlifting, you might lift more, but my technique is going to be better. Or something stupid, right? I squat more than you, or I can deadlift more than you. And it's like, I try to find, I'm not, maybe it's I'm not okay where I'm at with myself in that sense, right? Like, I can't just be okay with you're better. I have to show my betterness or my greatness more than you in something. And it seems just so small, right? Like so petty. And it's interesting the things that step work brings out, right? Like as you start to think about who you are and the way you present yourself and who are you when you're laying in bed at night by yourself, right? Like, I mean, my wife's there, but like I'm laying there by myself. Who am I? What do I stand for? What do I do? Where do I go? How do I do things? Like, those are all questions that like we should be thinking about, because like at the end of the day, what do I stand for? Right? What do I do when nobody's around, when nobody's paying attention? Am I working hard to be better? Am I being lazy? Am I taking things of minimal concern? Right? Like, what am I doing? And I work hard at a lot of things because I want to be good at them. It's never acceptable in my mind just to be average, right? In my mind, I have to be the best, even though my effort doesn't always say that. My mind says I'm the best, but my effort that I put in doesn't always show that. And so I need to get better at this, right? I I need to get better. I need to get some more acceptance of self. I need to just become more okay in my own skin. Realizing that I can do a lot of things, but I can only do so much before other things become affected, right? And like I had to realize, like, my relationships get affected, my job gets affected, my kids, my grandkids. I embarrass my wife because people don't want to invite us because all I do is talk crap. Or I'm walking around the store and I'm practicing a golf swing or a snatch or. It's the third time this camera shut off, so we're just gonna make this one quick, right? We're just gonna. I just wanted to tell you guys that, like, it's okay where you are. It's okay to not be enough, right? It's okay not to be lacking, but don't stay there, right? Like, when you become aware of the shortness of, or your limited ability to do certain things, you got to work at it, right? Like, don't stay in suckiness. Work to get better, because at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? Because if we're about personal growth, then I have to identify the spaces that I'm not who I need to be, or I'm not who I should be. And for me to be who I want to be, those things have to get worked out. So I just want to let you guys know it's okay. We all struggle with that sometimes. But we just don't stay there. We keep moving forward. We keep getting up and we keep pushing, right? And so if anybody's told you today, I just want you to know that God loves you, and so do I. I hope you have a great day, and God bless you.